Hi, welcome to yet another Talk Wednesday. Wednesdays have quickly become my favorite day of the week because we get to have really cool conversations with very, very interesting people. And I'm really excited to get into today's talk. But before we get to the meat of things, of course, we would not be here without our incredible founder, Miss Shelley Lynn Hughes. So, Shelley, thank you so much for this opportunity and for trusting me with your people. I'm truly honored. And of course, we must thank our incredible Talk Wednesday sponsor, Leanne Miles at the Clinton Wilkins. That's a tongue twister for me. The Clinton Wilkins Mortgage Team. I need to just slow down. So Leanne, thank you so much for your generous sponsorship so we can be here. And when I say we, I want to introduce you to Ashley Raymer. And Ashley is coming to us from Langley, British Columbia. And we were chatting before I hit record. And anybody that's watched a few of these, you may know that Langley was home to me for many years, and it's the place where I met my husband. And so right away, as soon as Ashley said she was in Langley, I was endeared to her already. So Ashley, welcome.
Thank
So
you.
thrilled to have you here. And I'm so excited to dive into your story with you. So I learned before we hit record that Langley is new to you. So you've moved to Langley recently from Squamish. So that's got to be like that's a culture shock, really, for anybody that knows BC. That's a true culture shock. So I would love to hear about that journey and what brought you from, what brought you down the mountain into the valley.
Well, yeah. To be honest with you, I have an 11-year-old daughter. So I was kind of looking for more options for her teenage years, I guess we'll say. Squamish is beautiful and there's so many things to do there. But I really would like to be able to give her a movie theater to go to or a bowling alley if she wants to feel like that with her friends eventually, so I really wanted to kind of get to a little bit more city.
Wonderful. And you're right in the heart of things there. I love and I can't get over the growth that's happened in the Langley area in the last handful of years. I was out there in January, and honest to God, without my GPS, until I hit the Langley bypass, I didn't know where I was because things have changed so much. But that's wonderful to see that growth is still happening. Okay, so not only have you had a geographical change, bumping back a few years, you've had a career change, so to speak. So I know
Yeah.
today you are the owner of your own business, so I will let you share, the name and a little bit of maybe your elevator speech, and then we'll unpack that a little bit more.
Cool. I love that. So my company's name is Cedar and Ocean Photography. I am the lead photographer and owner for Cedar and Ocean. Um, and our big thing at Cedar and Ocean is to create a grounded, curated experience for each client to truly be their authentic self.
Mm.
So
Oh, I
I help
love
you. Yeah, I know it's very exciting. I do that through breath
it.
work. I make sure my clients are comfortable, and above all, I make sure they feel safe during the process because you cannot be your authentic self in superposed pictures like this. It's just, it's not my style, and that's
Mm.
wonderful for people that is. That's fantastic. But I really believe that, with the progression of social media, with the projection that we all have as mothers, as women, as men to project this image, I truly believe that, we need to get back to basics and be more grounded.
Mm. And grounded is where authenticity comes from, right? And when someone can capture true authenticity in a photo, that's magic. It really, really is. Um, as you were speaking, my mind immediately went to, with the Pursuit 365 project, that the Pursuit 365 book is about, each individual being captured in a photo and telling a story. And,
Yeah.
I think back to the night of, my photo shoot, and just I couldn't seem to, like, make the
Yeah.
camera go away. So I actually had to have a friend come in and just sit and talk to me. So then I
Yes.
could engage in what I was doing, but engage with someone else to try to distract
Yes.
distract my mind so I could settle back into myself. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your process. So you touched on breath work, um,
Yes.
but yeah, tell your jam.
So I'll start kind of where I started, which is boudoir. So I
Mhm.
started in boudoir, and the reason why I started there is because I truly believe, like Moira Rose has said, take pictures at every age, ladies. I just I really believe every woman should get as naked as they want in front of the camera. Um, and Beryl, it is such an intimate experience with yourself. And no, you don't have to show the pictures to anyone, but I truly believe it shifts the thought process of yourself. So, you know,
Mm,
going into that, there's a lot of breath work to what are we learning about ourselves right now? What are we letting go right now? And we go through the breath work of in the poses, and you relax into them by taking a breath. And, I always ask if people, does that feel good? They're like, no. Cool, let's switch it up. Let's make sure we feel good in the shot, because if you're not feeling good, it's not going to come across the lens very well, right?
mhm, mhm, mhm. So true. And I will second what Ashley said. So, a number of years ago, I went through a difficult time in my life, and as part of my journey, through that, I challenged myself for a period of time to do things that scared me, and like scared the crap out of me. And I did a boudoir photo shoot, and it was truly life changing. It was.
Yeah.
It was so out of my realm, so out of my element. And it's interesting as I'm listening to you talking about breath work, and that right away makes me want to lean in, because again, the photographer I dealt with was out of Toronto, and he was great, but
Yeah.
his angle was champagne, and I'm not really somebody that drinks, right? So
Yeah.
did I have it? Yeah, because I needed to get out of my head. But I love hearing um what you're about, because it is way more natural and way more authentic, and it really allows someone to tap into themselves. That's
100%.
incredible. Okay. Wow. Okay, yeah, so do the boudoir. Booker. Okay, keep going, Ashley. So boudoir.
Yeah. So I kind of do the same thing with my clients for couples. So I love capturing love. For many years, I was too afraid to capture weddings because I'm a crier. So, it's very hard to take pictures behind the lens while you're crying. Um, vows always get me. So I state to my clients, I'm a crier. I'm sorry. It's just your love is beautiful,
Oh,
and
I love
I'm an
that.
authentic person. So I cry. I'm sorry. My couples
Never
experience.
apologize for authenticity. That's
Thank you.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
Thank you. My couple sessions are the same as the breath work. Men usually tense up and they're very growly in front of the camera. I'm very proud to present the fact I've never had a man go, I'm not into this. I'm like, cool, what are you into? Let's do it. Let's get
Mm.
your partner on board to make sure we creatively involve them in the process. Because if they're not creatively involved, they're not going to want to do it, right? So,
Mhm.
we
So
take them
true.
on that journey too, through the breath work, through their what's your favorite way to hold your partner's hand? What's your favorite way to sit with them, right? It's my job to make it look pretty. That's the way I that's the way I capture.
Mm. Oh, I love that. I love that. So do you mostly shoot in nature? Do you shoot like wherever somebody, says like, "Hey, I love the water," or I want to go downtown and pose in front of like graffiti buildings or yeah, how does that process? What does that look like?
So I always ask where my clients are comfortable, number one. Number two, what inspires you, right? If you feel called to do the graffiti shoot, we're gonna go do it. It's gonna be amazing, you know? Um, I've recently had a couple approach me because their bridal portraits did not, they were too tired to do their bridal portraits on their wedding day, basically. And they called me
Mm.
and they're like, "Do you do bridal portraits?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." They're like, "We want to go to the forest." I'm like, "Say no more. What forest do you like?" Like, that's absolutely my jam. Um, I would rather shoot in nature, secluded, away from everyone. My original chord with boudoir was, I drive a Jeep, so we go off-roading to the boudoir shoot. Um, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And
That's a
it gives
whole
us
other
time.
spin on things.
It does, and, it gives you time to get to know your photographer, to see how you vibe with them. It also gives you time to, like, "Hey, what music do you like? Do you wanna pick the music?" So by the time you get to the shoot, 20 minutes in, you know what music they like,
Mm.
they're more comfortable with you as well. That's also a big thing I think a lot of people need to do more of is take your time with your clients, you know? Just because you're there for an hour does not mean you're just there for an hour. I believe that we're going to have that conversation. Let's relax into the process. Traffic is a thing here. Kids are a thing here. You're probably stepping away from the life you have. So we got to immerse ourselves into that, right? We got to slow down to take time for those shots.
Mhm, mhm. It's almost in a sense, it's like you don't just sit down and meditate, right? Like
Yeah.
there's that process to
Yeah.
allow you to get to
Yes.
that point of yourself, right? And that's really
100%.
the point of the individual that you're trying to capture, right? Because
Yes.
it's when we remove life, when we remove whatever, right?
Yes.
That's when the connection to higher
Yes.
self happens, right? So, you're just
100%.
doing that lead up to, oh, I love this. I love this. Okay, so what drew like what I'd love to hear your backstory. So you had shared with me before we hit record that okay, so you've been doing photography full time for 4 years now.
Yeah.
Um, so I would love to, though. I'd love to hear. Let's back up, like back up as far as you want. I definitely want to
Okay.
go. 5, 6, 7 years at least. But if you want to go further
Yep.
back than that, I'd love to rewind you and see what that timeline looks like and know what that journey was because so often I just had this conversation with someone the other night. There's so many assumptions that people make about
Yes.
people and especially business people, right? There's no I was talking with a
Yeah.
guy the other night and I don't even remember what I said. And he was like, really? Like, you do that? And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, all the time. Right. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
why? These
Yeah.
assumptions just because I own a business doesn't mean I'm, sometimes I have to be superwoman, but I'm really
Yeah.
not. At the end of the day, I'm still a flawed human. And
Yes.
and I love that our world is starting to show that it's okay to be flawed. And that's another thing that really resonates with me with what you're saying and what I'm really feeling that you're about. So I'm going to shut up now and I'm going to let you
Yeah.
share.
So I'm going to take you back. My dad, my Faja, he is very into photography, and so he grew up learning on a 70s Pentax. And I can remember the time my family got their first digital camera because he was shooting on a Pentax, right, or a Canon film, right, and it was a big deal when my family got a digital
Mm,
camera, right. I can remember my
yep.
dad shooting with me and, learning about different lenses and learning how to capture people and really taking my dad's knowledge when all the way through childhood into even now. I could still call my dad and I say, hey, what do you think about this? He goes, ooh, cool idea. You know, I learned on a 70s Pentax. I learned in a dark room, you know, and trust me, if and when the dark rooms come back, oh man, I'm gonna be so jazzed.
Mm.
You know,
Well, then bring them back. Bring them
right,
back, right? Like,
right.
be the change. It's like how
I just
vinyl has had a resurgence, right? Like
yes,
vinyl went
yes.
away and it's come back because anybody that's truly into music knows that
Yes.
there's a difference, right? The digital
There's a huge
music
difference.
and and it's I don't know, but I know that it's the same in with your craft and your art.
It is 100% the same, and, you know, I truly believe every photographer should go back to film just a little bit, even if it's just to expand your knowledge on your camera. I think it's so pivotal pivotal in your career to just go back to the basics, right? Um, you know,
Mhm.
my journey to photography has been very interesting because I've always captured people. It's always been my thing to capture authentic people. You know, I can remember being at my mom and dad's friends and family weddings, and I would have a little camera with me capturing their wedding, you know, and it was really funny
Mhm.
being, 12 years old, and they're like, "You got a better shot than our photographer." Like, what is the deal? You know, it was like a big deal. Do you remember when you used to put your film in and you got like, what a great
Yeah.
shot. Oh man, that was like my thing as a kid. You know, you got that what a great shot from the photographers that developed the film. That was like, peak moment.
I never got one of those. You said it. I'm like, what is
No,
never in my life. Kudos to you.
oh, thanks.
Kudos to you.
Yeah, it was a big deal. You know, I've always captured people, and I believe that everybody needs to be captured. You know, becoming a mom, how many times I want to hide behind the camera because my body, self-worth, self-esteem, everything's kind of blah, right? After you have baby. Um, and I wanted to hide, and I really truly
Mhm.
believe we need to step out in front of the camera with our kids at every shape that we're at every stage of life, because our kids are going to look back at the pictures and go, why weren't you in anything? You know?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'm really trying to change the narrative a bit on doing the hard things, do the
Mhm.
hard things.
Love that. I love that. And I wish I'd been able to have this conversation 20 years ago because yeah,
Yes.
20 years ago, I wasn't in any of the pictures. I wasn't
Yeah.
for probably 8 years. I wasn't
Yeah.
in pictures because I
Yep.
was embarrassed and or you're hiding behind,
Yeah.
and again, there's always that voice in there. So again, like, all right, take my picture, but I really don't want you to, right? So
Yeah.
so even your energy is all wrong.
100%.
And it's sad, right? Because at the
It
end
is
of the
sad.
day, you know, people that you know, people that love us don't care about any of that stuff. And anybody
No.
that's gonna judge us, they're not our people anyway. Because
100%.
we all know what other people think is none of our business. And
Correct.
the more we can absorb that and really believe that, at our core,
Yes.
that's freedom and liberation. And I think the more you can, I can tell, I can just tell from speaking to you that you have this gift of really connecting with people and how, allowing them to trust you and lean into you to really bring that out to be able to then show them that,
Yeah.
and maybe that's the pivotal moment that they need to be like, oh, you know, that like there I am. There I am.
100%.
And oh, I
You
love
know,
that. I love
I I'm very, very honored to be a person in anyone's life for them to choose my photography company, to capture those moments, because the emotional roller coaster you go through with being intimate with yourself on camera is an honored place to be. You know, there's in every single photo shoot I do, that's boudoir, and the experience that I do through that, there are different phases. And I can tell you, everyone goes through the phases. It's like the first 10 minutes of the shoot are an absolute gong show. So let's be a gong show. You know, it's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel very weird. It's going to feel like you're naked and you're not naked yet. You know, it's awkward, right? So let's take that time and let's get it out of the way, because then we're going to have fun, right? You know, I would say middle of the shoot is like a wild person comes out. You know, they're like, let's just strip naked and let's do the things. I'm like, cool, let's do it. You know, let's and then it's like this wild person comes out like, let's put my leg on this thing and let's like pose weird on it. I'm like, cool, let's do it. You know, I love the process that everyone goes through for being comfortable and getting into their wild person era. You know, we all have these little eras that we go through in a photo shoot that are just, I love it. I love it.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. Okay, so we know you do boudoir. We know you do couples. You do
Yes.
weddings. Um, what other genre is it? Genres, is that the right word that I would
Yeah.
use? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely it is. I also do babies. Um, I love me doing some babies. I also do headshots. I kind of do a plethora of things, and the reason why I don't hunker in, I'm just a boudoir photographer, I'm just a wedding photographer, is because I truly believe that um, the brand I've created to put your most authentic self forward is not just boudoir, it's not just weddings, it's not just couples experiences, it's literally every part of your life. So I really believe that the clients that are coming to me to capture those moments with baby, like that's such an intimate time to be going into someone's home and shooting their baby, right?
Mhm.
That you're picking a photographer, hopefully that you're resonating with, right? To
Mhm,
capture your
mhm,
family.
mhm. Yeah, and right away resonated with like a headshot, because again, you think of the business person, right? And not all business people are, the power suit or the shirt and tie or and
Yeah,
it's trying to capture the essence of who someone is,
100%.
in their business. And
Yes.
and and that's where I just really, really feel with you that
Mhm.
you would really help someone recognize that and be able to, like,
Yes.
capture that instead of just the
Yes.
the pose, I
The s
yeah,
the
so
absolutely, the struggle's really real. It's the one thing that people are like, "Oh, well, you bring to the studio to me and we'll do the thing." I'm like, "I challenge you. If that's what you'd like, that's what we'll do. But what if we went outside and let's go to your favorite place and let's go by a tree?" And they're like, "Wait, what?" I'm
mm,
like, "Yeah, let's go do the thing
mm,
outside. Let's
mhm,
go, you know, I understand that you're very, very powerful by your computer, but, like, let's be powerful outside too." Um, you know, I really believe in capturing people's authentic self, and it takes getting out of our home sometimes. Sometimes it's in our home, we don't know. For each person, it's different.
mhm,
Sometimes it's in the office, sometimes it's out of the office, but I really believe when people take the leap of faith and trying something out of their comfort zone, they're kinda be in it as well, especially when they trust the process, you
mhm,
know?
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I think of like one of my favorite places, and people that know me well know that you'll find me at Blackwater, coffee, and I'm usually like perched up on at the counter.
Yeah.
And my whole thing of working in cafes actually started when I lived in Langley. I went
Yes.
to Trinity Western University, and I would drive
Yeah.
into the city of Langley, and there was a little cafe called Coco's, and I had my little table at Coco's, and that's where I would study, because I'm not someone, quiet doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I'm better with distraction and noise. And so still today, I'll I have a traveling office in a bag, and I love to perch myself up. And so right away I'm thinking, well, that's where I would want you to shoot me.
Right?
In that more relaxed, yes, yes. And interacting with the barista, or I don't know. So what would that look like? So let's say, okay, so I've hired you because
Yep.
let's take people on this journey. I'm hiring you, and okay,
Yep.
Ashley, we're gonna do this. We're going to the coffee shop. What would that process look like?
Absolutely. So the process, step one would be, is the coffee shop able for us to shoot in it? So that's kind of step
Okay.
one, is that I believe in consent in all parties. So cool, let's get the coffee shop on board, and let's get, whoever we need to get on board to make that happen for you. And then step two would be, let's go to the shop. Me, go check for lighting. What time of the day is the best lighting, in the
Mhm.
coffee shop? If there isn't good lighting in the coffee shop, because sometimes it is very dark, we can set up by the window. We can set up maybe in a little bit of a nook and cranny that maybe they'd be open to setting us up in. And then, we kind of go from there. We pick the time, and I'm like, hey, this is what looks good at this time. Kind of, what do you think about that? And, we just kind of work creatively together.
Mm. Okay, wonderful. All right, so we know. All right, we've got a good image and vision of who you are, what you're about. We know where you are. So
Yep.
let's, again, you're in BC. So
Yep.
what's your range of where you work and who you work with and all that sort of thing? Because again, we want the people contacting you. We want you shooting like crazy, and working your magic.
I appreciate that. Um, I shoot everywhere. So what that looks like can look very different. So for example, getting a call in Cranbrook to do a boudoir shoot. Do you ever come out here? I'm really digging it. I'm like, let's make it happen. Okay. Like one photo shoot in Cranbrook, that's amazing. Maybe you reach out to your girlfriends, maybe you reach out to your guy friends, maybe you reach out to families, right? And I post on some community boards, etc. Hey, I'm going to be here this weekend, and I just kind of block off a weekend and I go.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's amazing. So then you start a ripple effect in a
yeah,
community, so to speak, and
100%.
it's the gift that keeps on giving. All
Well, and
right. Oh,
I
that
believe when you reach out to I really believe when you reach out to community and when you're surrounded by awesome people, your awesome people know awesome people, and you're all just going to want to work together, right?
mhm. Amen to that. I love that. I gotta put that up. Awesome people. Awesome people know awesome. I'm doing this without glasses, so the struggle is real. The struggle is real. Oh, that is so true.
It is, right?
We're gonna show that. Yeah, awesome people know awesome people. That's a mic drop
Mhm.
comment right there, Ashley. So,
Thank
so,
you.
so good. Okay, so again, the name of your company is
Cedar and Ocean Photography.
Cedar and Ocean Photography. That says so much. Um, you can tell you're a nature lover. That is for sure. Um, so Cedar and Ocean Photography, located in Langley, BC, but we'll go anywhere. And what's the best place for people to reach you, to track you down, to book you, um, all of that, Ashley? Because
So
you're gonna blow up for sure.
thank you. So you can look at my Instagram at Cedar and Ocean. I also have info at Cedar and Ocean and my website at www.cedarandocean.com.
So easy. So easy.
Yep.
It made it so streamlined. So
Right.
do the Cedar Notion thing. Let's book Ashley, work some magic, get into your authentic self, and let's all really celebrate who we are.
Yes.
And the magic of our differences and the uniqueness that we all bring to the table. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, any last words for anybody, Ashley, before we sign off?
No, I don't have any. I just want to say thank you very much for having me on.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. And go go continue being awesome and
You as
keep
well.
spreading that around. Will do. Will do. Okay, guys. It's always a pleasure being here for these Talk Wednesdays, and every week my heart gets warmed, and I just love hearing people's stories. So until next time, be well and continue your pursuit to happiness. Wishing you all the best.